And young women, please understand that if you dress immodestly, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography.
The portion of my talk that I have just delivered was written after the death of our beloved President Russell M. Nelson. What follows now was written and approved weeks before, but it still represents my teachings inspired by the Lord. The Family Proclamation, announced exactly 30 years ago, declares that the family is ordained of God and is central to the Creator's plan for the eternal destiny of His children. It also declares that God's commandment for His children to multiply and replenish the earth remains in force. And we further declare that God has commanded that the sacred powers of procreation are to be employed only between man and woman lawfully wedded as husband and wife. As then Elder Russell M. Nelson taught a BYU audience, the family is, quote, pivotal to God's plan. In fact, a purpose of the plan is to exalt the family, end of quote. The Church of Jesus Christ is sometimes known as a family-centered church. It is. Our relationship to God and the purpose of our mortal life are explained in terms of the family. The gospel of Jesus Christ is the plan of our Heavenly Father for the benefit of His Spirit children. We can truly say that the gospel plan was first taught to us in the counsel of an eternal family. It is implemented through our mortal families, and its intended destiny is to exalt the children of God in eternal families. Despite that doctrinal context, there is opposition. In the United States, we are suffering from a deterioration in marriage and childbearing. For nearly 100 years, the proportion of households headed by married couples has declined, and so has the birth rate. The marriages and birth rates of our church members are much more positive, but they have also declined significantly. It is vital that Latter-day Saints do not lose their understanding of the purpose of marriage and the value of children. That is the future for which we strive. Exaltation is a family affair, President Nelson has taught us. Quote, only through the saving ordinances of the gospel of Jesus Christ can families be exalted, end of quote. The national declines in marriage and childbearing are understandable for historic reasons, but Latter-day Saint values and practices should improve, not follow those trends. In my boyhood, 70 years ago, I lived on my grandparents' farm in a setting where almost all that happened during the day was under the direction of the family. There was no television or other electronics to distract from family activities. In contrast, in today's urban society, few members experience consistent family-centered activities. Urban living and modern transportation, organized entertainment, and high-speed communication have made it easy for youth to treat their homes as boarding houses where they sleep and take an occasional meal, but where there is far less parental direction of their activities. Parental influences have also been diluted by the way in which most current members of the church earn a living. In times past, one of the great influences that unified families was the experience of struggling together in pursuit of a common goal, such as taming the wilderness or earning a living. The family was an organized and conducted unit of economic production. Today, most families are units of economic consumption, which does not require a high degree of family organization and cooperation. As parental influences diminish, Latter-day Saints still have a God-given responsibility to teach their children to prepare for our family destiny in eternity.
Travis Wayne Goodsall. It looks like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is back, and they met in their weekly meeting, and they decided to shut off the internet service. Take that, Travis! Take that! Yeah, really weird. I was just checking the internet, just briefly, after having crashed for several hours. I told you, conference wears me out. No surprise I lasted this long, but yeah, we had the viewing and then the funeral. And so I was just going and doing other videos because they came up and needed to be discussed. And another one for Stanford just dropped the bomb. So yeah, I finally was able to crash. So yeah, everything was fine, and then boom, out. And it's the whole building, at least if not the whole complex. So this is what I was worried about from my dream. In my dream, it was Gail Miller's concentration camp of hell of human trafficking, but without beds. They were all workstations. I was in a cubicle along the side of the building rather than a table in the middle of the building. It was a massive building, massive warehouse. And every guy, there were no women, all had their workstation at a table or a cubicle like I did. And 2 people per cubicle, desks were side by side. All of it was technical electronic equipment. Computers and other electronic devices. I had 2 laptops and external storage devices at my station, and they were stolen from me. So I was searching through the warehouse. I was pissed that somebody would steal it from me, but in that kind of this environment, it's prone to happen, just like at the shelter. And so I'm now out. I can't replace it. It's all gone. That can't be from a cyber attack. That's just from being on the system. Should be, anyway. They have now figured out a way to hack without the internet. Which, yeah, I guess if they planted a malware virus on my system to do the attacking of my computer, that I guess could be possible. I don't know how to do it. But with the internet down, I could see that it got activated. That Possible, I don't know. Don't know the technology of how it works. And yet that does seem to be the case. That a malware virus has been planted on my device that causes the camera to freeze. And so the internet being down, it triggered it. Fascinating how evil this church is, because I have already figured out that only the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints cyber attacks me. That this internet outage, therefore, is a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints cyber terrorist attack. Pure evil. So yes, let's see if we can get to Oaks without a billion of these. I'm at least grateful that it's not the Windows attack of your computer or your camera will not function. After doing the one video about transferring authority to Jesus Trump, for which they were furious with me for. So, Oaks in conference. No new temples, which means for 6 months they gave up on temples. And like I told you, that's exactly what they're doing. They're planning for Armageddon. This is not the test run year anymore. This is it. They failed in 2024. This is it. This is October. This is it. It's now, it's do or die. And so he talked about his glory days as a child, where he was a slave laborer on the farm with no technology. Thus, and so that's why I've been teasing ever since about being Amish Mormons, is because the Amish are anti-technology, even though what they do and use is a level of technology. They're kind of living in that cognitive dissonance where they said that, okay, that level of technology is now of the devil. We have to stay at this lower level of technology for the rest of our lives. It's the way Jesus wants it. No. That is the devil, who does not want man to prosper. From Genesis, Adam and Eve are placed in the garden, and they are to domesticate it. It's not just for farming. It's for ruling over the earth as humans, but not causing extermination events of the animal and plant species, not destroying the earth. You're supposed to turn it into a paradise for all to thrive. And this is what has not occurred to anybody, is they go to the extremist positions. You either have to allow animal and plant life to destroy mankind as a survival of the fittest Korahor doctrine, natural selection, survival of the fittest, doing whatever you want. And that's what Oaks was talking about, is that Korahor doctrine, that technology is evil, we got to do away with all technology, and we got to survive on our own as a family unit, roughing it out, carving our way in the wild frontier. And that will only happen now if mankind is destroyed with an apocalyptic event. Exactly what Oaks leaked back in 2020 for his test run. The end of the world is coming. This is what they've been planning for. is not just to exterminate mankind, to destroy the earth, to reboot the system, but do away with all technology. And as I told you over the years, as Mormons are in denial that this is the case, they want to do away with all historical documents, all records, all history, gone. Mankind starting all over from the beginning, just like mankind's beginning in Southeast Africa, where it's all primitive, it's all wild, and you have to struggle to survive in family groups. No more Book of Mormon, no more church. All just primitive survival. That's what he's talking about. And I'm horrified that KUTV2 was living in denial land, thinking, oh yay, we're going to have a new president of the church chosen. Is today going to be the day? Nope. Oh, well, will it be today? Oh, I don't know. And here, boom, shutting down the internet. This is the danger we are all in. It is Lucifer's doctrine to think that objects have power over mankind. They don't. It is the use of objects by mankind that can be used for good to help everybody prosper and survive and thrive, or to destroy it, destroy mankind. The objects in and of themselves have no moral, spiritual, ethical values of any kind of power. It is man's use. That's why with the internet, with social media, the church claims that it's all harmful to children and we need to blacklist adults to find out who's watching what. I mean, to protect children. Has nothing to do with any of that. They want to destroy technology. They don't want you to use it. And if you've been paying attention to all my videos, what have I been using it for? I showed you with the John Taylor Pearl of Great Price video. That's how I use it. I choose what to watch. I choose what to view and research and look at. YouTube has a social media control chip in their programming of AI to punish people, me, for not selecting what they choose me to watch. I am not allowed to go to channels. They recommend videos, I have to click on a video, and then they recommend other videos, and I have to click on those videos, and so on, and so on, and so on. I am not allowed to go to a person's channel to see what other videos they have, otherwise they will cause seizures with the flashing of the homepage picture. And previous times, they've attempted other ways to incentivize me to conform and comply, of which I never do. I will not be zombie controlled. I choose what I want to watch. I know what I want to watch. And if YouTube's got it, I want to watch it. And if they don't want me to watch it, tough, you've got it. So why aren't you letting me watch it? Nonetheless, this is the struggle that we're facing, is that they want to control your behavior. And they have found you unworthy to continue to exist. And in the coming day, with an outage, lack of communication, comes the strike, the attack. That is what you all need to fear with what's going on. Is that this, is just a precursor, cutting off communications. Because in a disaster, with no communications, compounds the disaster. That's what the church wants, the end of the world. So, I'll make the video, but I'm subject now to the authorities that be as to whether or not I will be able to post it. So I'll go back to doing other stuff with my technology until they shut off the power. So, the brilliance of timing. This is what I was on the internet for, because I had brought it up again. It was on my wish list, and after doing that video where I brought it up again, I saw that Amazon had it for a discount price, which was how I originally obtained it back in the 2000s. And so, yeah, I purchased it again, especially when they pulled the advertising stunt of, one left, get it now or you'll lose. I got it now. It was a good enough price to get it. And I'm sure it's all restocked now, but went and got the picture. This will be the thumbnail picture. We'll just include Eve with good genes for the thumbnail picture. As Mormons need to understand that this knowledge about us and our bodies, as he's talking about nofap, the evil sexual abuse of nofap by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with patriarchal abuse and dominance over women, all of this knowledge gone, that when a girl turns of age, she's already breeding, dipping in the kiddie pool. Nobody is allowed to know sex ed. And thus why, with the historical records that were kept over time, with the Jewish prophecies that were turned literal histories by Christians, and altering doctrines so that now women are to blame for a fall that never happened, when it's the church that caused the fall of the Dark Ages, that women are evil, that women are to blame for mankind's suffering, that women have to be covered up and hidden, women have to be subjected to their husband because they are not allowed independent agency to have life, liberty, and property. The pure evil doctrine of Lucifer, taught by this church from Christianity. This is what they want to return to. No more women's rights, no more freedom for women, no more women's lib, no more equality. All rights gone, subjected to her husband in the trad wife family unit. And I am horrified that before it happens, that their doctrines that they present is welcomed and wished for by their membership. And we've already seen with Trump 2.0, the second coming of Trump, that people all had their fantasies about how Trump was going to make America great again in their own special image in their brains. And then when Trump came after them, they were like, hey, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed up for. Well, it is. It is because you had the wrong interpretation of Trump. You didn't read and study his word. You didn't read and study Project 2025. And now here you are, and you're complaining. Trump purposely wrote or gave the reading of the poem of the the snake and the little girl on purpose. And you still let him in. Knowing exactly who he was from the beginning. You have only yourselves to blame when you allow these kinds of senile old men near death to run your lives for you, rather than you choosing how to live with agency. Do what is right. Let the consequences follow. Don't do what others tell you to do, what they tell you to think, what they tell you to feel, what they tell you to believe, and thus how to act. You choose as an independent agent, and choose right so that you don't take away the agency of others. And there will be joy. Adam fell that man might be.